Welcome, GasCast, to this GasCast build-up episode for the Wycombe game at home on Saturday. I'm your host, Tom Metcalfe, and I'm pleased to say I'm joined by Wycombe fan Dale. Hi, Dale.
Hello.
Rovers lost away to Blackpool on Saturday, which means the last time we avoided defeat on the opening day is all the way back in the conference season with a draw against Grimsby. For a win, you'd have to go back even further to Wimbledon 2011. New keeper Jacola punched a Blackpool player in the head, getting nowhere near across to give Blackpool a penalty, which Jay Spearing slotted away. Hopes of a second half fight back were extinguished straight away as slack defending allowed Armand Gandalay to nod home. In contrast, Wycombe registered a 2-0 win against a severely depleted Bolton team that was travelling with only 3 senior pros. Dale, how was it on Saturday?
It was quite a unique occasion to be favourites in any game in League One, frankly, but particularly against a club the size of Bolton Wanderers. But obviously, given their well-documented situation, I think quite a few people felt that it was a buy for us. I've seen Andy Holt, the Accrington Stanley owner, saying as much on his Twitter. I've seen a few Wycombe fans and Bolton fans, for that matter, take a bit of umbrage at that comment. I probably wouldn't go that far, but Bolton were competitive, even though they did put out a very young team. And there were some quite impressive performances, both from their younger players, and their fans were fantastic.
So it doesn't sound like it was completely men against boys, like I kind of thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be a bit of a Wycombe walkover.
The scoreline could have been at the end if we had, any of our players had their shooting boots. It could have been 8-0 at the end. The last 15 minutes, they got completely ragged. 2 of their kids got cramp, and they just basically run out of steam. But I think our players must have been feeling sympathetic. That might explain the bad finishing.
Do you think you can get an accurate feel for where your team is based on that game, or do you think it's going to be maybe against Rovers you'll kind of start to see where the level is?
Yeah, no, there's absolutely no way you can tell on that game. Unique. I mean, I don't think we'll even get a real idea after Saturday's game with your lot. Given the transfer window doesn't close till the end of August, or September the 2nd, I think it is. I think some of the teams are going to change, and obviously if you lose Johnson Clark-Harris, then your situation probably looks a little bit worse than it already does.
Oh yeah, if we lost him, it'd be absolutely shocking. I think we might be all right though. Just there's been interest in him allegedly, but it hasn't really come to that much so far, and he has been injured. So if he does come back and start kind of banging him in, it should be close enough to the transfer deadline that we don't let him go. If he did go, we've got him on like a long deal, so it should be like kind of towards 2 million for him really. But we'll see. I've got the feeling that if he's banging him in come January, he's going to be off, which would be upsetting. But like we'll get a good payday for him rather than losing players on the cheap, which has been our traditional way of losing our best players.
Yeah, I'm very much sympathise with you there. We've had to let a lot of our players go recently on the cheap because we're not in any position to bargain for better fees. But I must admit, from my perspective, and I know you're a lot closer to it, Johnson Clark-Harris's injury does appear rather convenient, and that it's potentially a cover for a move. But I guess we're going to find out in the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking of transfers, we were just speaking before we went on air that Jack Grimmer signed for you guys. He was heavily linked with Rovers, and from what Coventry was saying, he kind of came as a bit of a deal with Davis as well, who we did end up signing. Did he kind of stand out on Saturday?
I thought he didn't play anywhere near his potential. As I'm sure you've experienced as a football fan yourself, you see opposition players, you think, I'd quite like to sign him. And then you think, well, that's never going to happen. And then this summer, suddenly he turned up on trial in one of our friendlies, and you're just thinking, well, wouldn't that be lovely if we could get him? And our first choice right back, Jason McCarthy, had aroused interest from Millwall, and they have paid a fee for him, obviously undisclosed, like every other transfer fee. But it meant that we needed a right back, and Jack Grimmer was available, and we snapped him up. So I'm delighted.
Yeah, the Coventry fans kind of really rated him, and he's a young lad, so yeah, I was a bit upset that we didn't get him in the end. But yeah, best of luck to the lad. One of the
I'm
things I
looking
wanted to
forward to
get,
watching him. I have to say, I'm
yeah,
looking
yeah,
forward to
well,
him.
yeah, we'll see him on Saturday as well. See what we
Yes,
could have had.
yeah,
One of the things I wanted to ask you about, actually, you've mentioned the situation at Bolton. Um, the fans have got a lot of press for kind of travelling in massive numbers and for being quite raucous. Were they in good spirits?
yeah. I think there's sort of a siege mentality amongst them. They probably recognise the fact that they aren't. Uh, they're in such a bad situation that they could be looking at extinction. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. And having spent the summer waiting for news for their takeover and basically being told next to nothing, I think the fact that they just had a football match to uh, go and watch their team. I mean, I think it probably helped that Adams Park was a new ground for them, but their club couldn't sell any of the tickets because of their situation, being in administration. So all the tickets were sold through Wycombe Wanderers, which I think makes it even more impressive that Bolton fans, you know, made the effort. They almost pretty much sold out the away end, and they came down and they really backed their kids. Obviously, they'd had no idea what team they were going to be putting out, and I have to say, I think the kids did them proud. That you sensed the spirit of that club with a manager like Phil Parkinson, who God knows what he's been going through for the last few months. But he put a team out there that was competitive, and for 75 minutes they excelled really. The centre back Johan Zuma, who is Chelsea, sorry, is he at Chelsea now? I think he might have gone to Everton. Kurt Zuma's brother. I think he's 18. He was centre back up against Adebayo Akinfenwa, and he was very impressive, as was Liam Edwards, who was the centre back alongside him, also 18. They gave Akinfenwa a game for 75 minutes until they tired. So, I think Bolton Wanderers fans will be quite proud of what they did on Saturday, and let's hope the future is going to turn around for them now.
Yeah, keeping Akinfenwa quiet is no mean feat. I mean, he's getting on now. Is he? Is this kind of like? Is he winding down? Is he?
No. I think Akinfenwa is such a charismatic, bubbly, larger than life character, if I can use that expression. And he loves football. Basically, you can just see it. That's what he wants to do. He wants to be on the pitch. He's literally like a teenager, or even maybe even a younger boy that just wants to play, loves to play. And he's 37. He signed on for another season. I think he possibly had offers in America, but I'm not entirely sure on that. But he decided to stay. This will be his fourth season at Adams Park. He's up there with one of our best ever signings, and his impact is undeniable. He's just great to watch as well.
Yeah, I remember him. I think it must have been last January when you came to the Mem. He came out after all the subs. He'd come out late for whatever reason and had to walk past the what is now a Thatcher's End, and he was getting a few sing-songs about his tits from the home fans, which he to be fair to him, he took on the chin, clapped him and all that, and you just think, yeah, he just loves being a footballer. He didn't kind of get pissy or anything. I thought it was quite good.
He's very much used to that song. Bolton fans sang it on Saturday.
It's got to be done. So how have Wycombe been playing kind of formation-wise? What can we expect on Saturday? Kind of, I guess we'd only do one game so far, but I guess formations would have been tried out in pre-season and that.
Yeah, I don't really do pre-seasons. They're glorified train sessions from my perspective. But given that Gareth Ainsworth has been manager for 7 years now, that you know what to expect. His preferred formation is 4-3-3, which I see is the same formation that you played at Blackpool on Saturday. So I don't see any reason why he'd want to change that. He'll go 4-3-3. And I think most opposition fans know exactly what Wycombe Wanderers are going to give you, and that's a very hard game. The dark arts, as some people might refer to them, are something that Ainsworth learned from John Beck, the manager, most famously, I think, from Cambridge United, where he had Ainsworth. He also had Ainsworth at Preston North End and at Lincoln City. So in 3 different spells, Ainsworth played under him, and you can see his influence. It's very clear. The style is not always easy on the eye, and our midfield players particularly, but pretty much the whole ethos of the side is to get stuck in, don't give the opposition time to play, and that's how the team sets itself up to win matches.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up the dark arts, because I remember you basically nicked a win against us the last time we played at the Mem, and it was a lot of, even from, like, it was obviously set up for stay solid, take a point because you've already got one at that point. If you can nick a win, great. But it was a lot of like the stuff that really pisses fans off, like the going down at every opportunity, the time wasting, all that kind of stuff. Is that something you get at home, or is that just an away tactic kind of thing?
Oh no, that's part of Ainsworth's tactics in general, really. It's an unusual situation to find yourself in our history, particularly when before we became semi-pro and then pro. We had a reputation as an amateur team for playing attractive passing football. And obviously every club has spells with managers where you struggle and the style of football deteriorates as a consequence. But this is the first time where we've had a manager that really sets his stall out to play a style that's not aesthetically pleasing, shall we say. I think sometimes as a Wycombe fan watching it, it can... What's the word? It can be a little bit annoying, if I'm the truth be told. Yeah, on the other hand, it's proved successful on the whole. And when certain groups of fans, and I'm particularly thinking of Plymouth Argyle here, just go absolutely crazy, it's very difficult not to become amusing. They're literally rabid, frothing at the mouth at everything that happens on the pitch. There was the remarkable 1-0 win we had over them in January, which was our last win for about 2.5 months. It was an own goal. One of their Jan Songo headed a corner into his own net, and then the rest of the game we seem to have beaten them in their heads, So I guess from a Wycombe supporters perspective, you have to take the rough with the smooth. And the smooth is that we're still in League One, and it's very debatable whether we would be if we'd adopted a different style.
Thank you for being so kind of candid with that. I mean, last season we had a kind of similar-ish situation where Darryl Clark left in January, Graham Coughlin took over and made us very hard to beat. It was a horrible style of football. It wasn't there to win any plaudits. It was there, like Graham has said, players in the trenches, grind out results, just stay in the league at all costs. And he's kind of built it up this season to be like, right, we want to play a bit more attacking, a bit more on the front foot, possession, that kind of stuff. So we'll see how it goes down. What we saw against Blackpool wasn't anything near like what I was expecting from Graham's talking of it up. But Blackpool are a very good team, and they didn't give us a minute's peace on the ball, and I expect Wycombe to be exactly the same. So we'll see how we deal with that. Who would you say are Wycombe players to watch on Saturday?
Oh, no, we've had quite a good summer in terms of transfers. So we've made a few exciting signings. It all depends on what team Gareth Ainsworth decides to select, and he very rarely picks the team that I would pick. I think I'd have to go for Paul Smith, who is on a season-long loan from Queen's Park Rangers, and you will have come up against him last season whilst he was on a loan at Accrington Stanley. He plays on the right wing. He's diminutive. He's very quick. He's got very technically gifted, and it'll be interesting to see what sort of impact he has playing away from home, because it was a little bit quiet for me on Saturday against Bolton. Even though he was awarded man of the match, he did get our first goal with a little bit of help from Bolton's goalkeeper. But yeah, I think if I had to pick someone, I'd go for Paul Smith. He's probably the man to keep an eye out for. Alex Patterson is a central midfielder who made his debut on Saturday. He joined us from Middlesbrough, having spent last season on loan at Yeovil Town. He had a very good game as well. I'm looking forward to watching him this season. And hopefully David Wheeler might get a start. He's joined us from QPR on a permanent deal. And also I'm guessing you probably know David Wheeler from his time at Exeter City.
Yeah, I can't believe that's a hell of a coup, really.
So I think that's probably the signing that caught a lot of Wycombe supporters out. The other signings were sort of expected, but that one really did come out of the blue. He started on the bench Saturday, so I'm not too sure on his fitness. And if I've already name-checked 3 players, but if I can throw in a fourth, Fred Onyedinma has returned for his third spell, this time permanently from Millwall. I think one of my issues with the team is we often don't have enough pace, particularly in attack, and Fred Onyedinma definitely gives us that. So if he was to start on Saturday, then that would be a step in the right direction for me, because he really does scare defenders with his pace.
That's an interesting one, because I think the Blackpool player Kai was really bloody quick, and yeah, he scared the shit out of our defensive centre backs. We've got Tony Craig, who's getting on for 100, and the aforementioned Tom Davis, who isn't the quickest. So yeah, pace is a bit of a worry for us. Our fullbacks are reasonably quick, so hopefully we'll have enough to contain the wingers. But yeah, up front's a bit of a worry. Could I prod you for a score prediction?
Oh dear, I'm notorious for being pessimistic when it comes to predicting scores and matches. If Johnson Clark Harris plays, then I think if you'd offer me a point, I'd be very tempted to take it right now, based on his form at the end of last season. But if he's not fit, then I definitely would fancy us to get another 1-0 win. So I'm going to go for that.
I think I share your point of view on that one. Yeah, Blackpool. We had the youngster from Barnsley, Victor Adebayo. I'm sure I've just murdered his name there. Up front on his own, pretty much. We were playing near enough a 3-5-1, and he was so isolated. If that was Johnson, you'd kind of expect him to be able to. He's very good at hold-up play, not only just creating goals out of nothing, but his hold-up play is very good. If he does play, I'm hoping that we've got another youngster, Tyler Smith from Sheffield United, who's shown flashes. He came on against Blackpool. He played quite well. He can hold the ball up well. He's rapid as well. So I'm hoping if we're gonna play 4-3-3, I hope at least one of those two figures. If they do, I've got a feeling we'll be able to sneak it. One thing I wanted to ask you about. So I've not been to Wycombe away before. I am going to this season, and I've heard lots and lots of rumours about this tent for the away fans. Have you ever been? I'm hearing rumours of bratwurst, currywurst, tent, beer, sports. It's every man's dream.
Well, it depends what your dreams and fantasies are, Tom. But let's not pick at that thread. We're in the midst of a takeover of sorts with an American consortium. I'm not too sure if that's the right word. Anyway, they were looking at taking over at Yeovil towards the end of last season, but that never came off. So they're now at Adams Park, and they are winning the hearts and minds of quite a lot of Wycombe Wanderers fans. However, they really are sort of taking over the day-to-day running of the club, from what I can gather. Certainly on a business level. So on Saturday they arranged for a beer tent that featured the beer from our local brewery, the Rebellion, which is quite popular. But I'm pretty sure that was just for home fans. for away fans, I'm trying to remember if they still had the beer tent. I've got a feeling they did. As you've pointed out, the fact that you were even aware of it shows that it's popular. It doesn't really make a great deal of sense for them not to pursue it, but and keep it going. Given the geography of Adams Park, you come in the gate and the away end's immediately to your left, which is again where you'll find the tent. So it all sort of works logistically. So I anticipate that you will your dreams may well come true.
I mean, it is a deal breaker for me if I hear that the tent's off, I'm not going. Basically, I've now boycotted Walsall away because they closed the Saddlers Club, which regular listeners will know is a big disappointment to me. That was my heaven. Yeah. A complete aside there. That's about all we've got time for. Thank you very much for your time, Dale.
You're welcome.
And thank you very much, Gasheads, for listening. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts, and up the gas.